Food is one of the most important things you'll ever buy. And yet most people never bother to think about their food and where it comes from. People spend a lot more time worrying about what kind of blue jeans to wear, what kind of video games to play, and what kind of computers to buy. One of the major factors influencing future home design will be the probable change in climate, with hotter summers, colder winters, and the possibility of floods. Consequently, houses will be built with better insulation and will also need ways of keeping cool in hot weather, whether that's air conditioning or more shading of windows. Two sisters were at a dinner party when the conversation turned to upbringing. The elder sister started to say that her parents had been very strict and that she had been rather frightened of them. Her sister, younger by 2 years, interrupted in amazement. "What are you talking about?" She said, "Our parents were very lenient."
Carbon is essential to life on Earth, but scientists still struggle to grasp its complexities. Most research to date has focused on major sources of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide, and the use of fossil fuels. A new study has come to the counterintuitive conclusion that plants might accumulate more carbon in the presence of predators and herbivores. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. You will usually be given one of these for each subject in the first lecture, but if you are missing one or need one earlier, then you should contact the subject coordinator. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural and political rather than purely economic, and one of the main drivers in addition to the global marketplace is the communication revolution. A common way of permitting others to use an intellectual property right is to give express permission for it. This can be done in return for financial remuneration. In such cases, the holder of an intellectual property right is often referred to as granting a license to use what the holder otherwise has exclusive rights to. subject to certain conditions.
The benefits of home fencing are not only as a barrier between the area of the house and the surrounding environment. In simple words, a fence is a formation or structure that is above the ground and is generally vertical, with the intention of limiting an area or protecting everything inside the fence, from threatening danger from outside the fence. Many floods take hours to come into full effect, so they provide people with time to evacuate safely while salvaging as many of their valuable possessions as they can. Sometimes, however, floods generate in minutes and give little warning to their formation. These are known as flash floods, and can be extremely dangerous. Flash floods are the top one weather-related cause of death in the United States. Astronomers announced that they have finally assembled an image of the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. This image shows a bright ring surrounding the darkness, the telltale sign of the shadow of the black hole. It reveals the turbulent, twisting region immediately surrounding the black hole in new detail. We want a recreation in adulthood of what it felt like to be administered to and indulged. In a secret part of our minds, we picture someone who will understand our needs, bring us what we want, to be immensely patient and sympathetic to us, act selflessly, and make it all better.
The committee would also like to express its gratitude to the independent assessors who joined the committee for consideration of each case. Their expertise and advice play a vital role in our work. A list of independent assessors who attended meetings during this reporting year is included at Appendix D. Environmental, individual and social traits of free-ranging raccoons influence performance in cognitive testing. Shy raccoons are better learners than bold ones, a result that has implications for our relationship with urban wildlife. The central idea of this book concerns our blindness with respect to randomness, particularly the large deviations. Why do we, scientists or non-scientists, hotshots or regular Joes, tend to see the pennies instead of the dollars? Why do we keep focusing on the minutiae, not the possible significant large events, in spite of the obvious evidence of their huge influence? The dyes and pigments available in any particular period in which a specific color photographic process was invented, manufactured and used have profound effects on the quality of color that defines most of the style and particular historical period.
The problem is that increased immune vigilance has a side effect, allergies. Our speculation is that this is some kind of trade-off. In the past you needed to resist some kind of pathogen, and the trade-off or sacrifice you have to make is increased responsiveness to non-pathogenic allergens. So next time some of you get the springtime sniffles, blame your distant ancestor, the one with the heavy brow ridge.
As the inventor of alternating current technology, Nikola Tesla played a paramount role in the electricity used to power the entire world. Tesla also worked diligently on a dream of supplying electrical power without wires. Thomas Edison was also instrumental in shaping society today with his inventions. Edison's design of the inside of the light bulb was the crucial key to making a light that would stay lit for hours instead of going out almost immediately.
Networking is easy and fun because it taps into this human predilection to talk about ourselves when asked. Consider successful networking as little more than the process of guiding a person to tell you about his life, what he's doing, the company that employs him, and his current industry.
When countries assess their annual carbon dioxide emissions, They count up their cars and power stations, but bushfires are not included, presumably because they are deemed to be events beyond human control. In Australia, Victoria alone sees several 100,000 hectares burn each year. In both 2004 and the present summer, the figure has been over 1 million hectares. At the beginning of each fiscal year, funds are allocated to each state account in accordance with the university's financial plan. Funds are allocated to each account by object of expenditure. Account managers are responsible for ensuring that adequate funds are available in the appropriate object before initiating transactions to use the funds. While blue is one of the most popular colors, it is one of the least appetizing. Blue food is rare in nature. Food researchers say that when humans searched for food, they learned to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black or purple. When food dyed blue is served to steady objects, they lose appetite.
Although it comes from a remote region in the Himalayas, this plant now looks entirely at home on the banks of English rivers. Brought to the UK in 1839, it quickly escaped, colonizing riverbanks and damp woodlands. Now it is spreading across Europe, New Zealand, and Canada. In the Himalayas the plant is held in check by various pests, and it grows and reproduces unhindered. How do we imagine the unimaginable? If we're asked to think of an object, say, a yellow tulip, a picture immediately forms in our mind's eye? But what if we try to imagine a concept such as the square root of a negative number? The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Great innovations in productive techniques during and after the war raised the output of industry beyond the purchasing capacity of U.S. farmers and wage earners.
Pluto lost its official status when the International Astronomical Union downsized the solar system from 9 to 8 planets. Although there had been passionate debate at the YAO General Assembly meeting in Prague about the definition of a planet, and whether Pluto met the specifications, the audience greeted the decision to exclude it with applause. Ever since I remembered, Father woke up at 5:30 every morning, made us all breakfast and read newspaper. After that he would go to work. He worked as a writer. It was a long time before I realized he did this for a living. Although Botswana's economic outlook remains strong, the devastation that AIDS has caused threatens to destroy the country's future. In 2001, Botswana has the highest rates of HIV infection in the world. With the help of international donors, it launched an ambitious national campaign that provided free antiviral drugs to anyone who need them, and by March 2004, Botswana's infection rate has dropped significantly.
New research shows that during the global financial crisis, Workers who stayed in jobs did not reduce their working hours, despite the claims that cuts in hours have led to job losses. A study found that the life of people who stayed with the same employer remained relatively unchanged. Life expectancy has increased dramatically in the last century. Most people these days will live for over 70 years. This is more than double the lifespan of the average human in the 17th century. We can attribute our longevity to advances in medicine and lifestyle. While everyone agrees that living longer is wonderful, overpopulation is becoming a serious environmental concern. You may have heard of the new fad known as ecotourism. This means tourism which is environmentally friendly, and conscious about conserving the environment. The key is to minimize the physical, social and behavioral impacts of overseas travel. Tour groups will often work with local and indigenous communities to design respectful and memorable programs for visitors. Japan is the world's calculator superpower. Japanese manufacturers have led sales of calculators for over 30 years in many countries. Even in the age of personal computers, calculators are still essential in accounting jobs. In addition, calculators with graphing capabilities have begun to be used in education.
Countries bordering the Mediterranean have built up a solid reputation for sunshine and great tasting food, as well as impressive health statistics featuring some of the lowest rates of heart disease and increased life expectancy. This has created a lot of attention towards the Mediterranean diet, which is not a typical weight loss diet, but more of a set of habits.
The natural world is an incredible place. There are soaring mountains and rolling sand dunes, spectacular beaches and shimmering lakes, steaming geysers and bubbling volcanoes, and so much more. Although it's all truly dazzling, there are a few destinations and sites around the world that stand out from the rest. And the most significant of all are the 7 natural wonders of the world.
The Grand Canyon is 277 miles long, up to 18 miles wide and attains a depth of over a mile. While the specific geologic processes and timing that form the Grand Canyon are the subject of debate by geologists, recent evidence suggests the Colorado River established its course through the canyon at least 17 million years ago.